Mix Picks Vintage Showcase. Today we were going to take a look at a 1965 Fender electric guitar and Fender's first short-scale student model, the Musicmaster. This is a pre-CBS guitar from the end of the transition period, right before CBS purchased and took over all operations at Fender Electric Instrument Company. This is a Musicmaster I recently picked up that has some aftermarket modifications and is missing a headstock logo, as you can see. We're going to talk about the story of this model before looking at the details of this particular guitar. The original Musicmaster came to market in early 1956, followed by its sibling a few months later, the Duosonic, which was the two-pickup version. Up to this point, Fender only offered Telecaster and Stratocaster, but no short-scale student guitars for beginners. Sales chief Don Randall suggested a step-up sales program for dealers who offered in-store lessons, thinking that they were in the best position to help get beginners onto full-scale guitars. Rock and roll was exploding in the mid-1950s and interest in playing guitar was surging around the world. In 1964, the Musicmaster and Duosonic were redesigned using the new Mustang neck and body blanks. The new body design was slightly larger and featured an offset waist reminiscent of the Jazzmaster, Jaguar, and Jazz bass. This first re-release of the student guitars introduced a plastic pickguard plus a separate metal plate for the controls and input jack. These were branded the Musicmaster 2 and Duosonic 2, but during this time there were many inconsistencies with new and old decal use on these models. At least that's what I've read. Later in the 1960s, the Musicmaster and Duosonic were again redesigned with a new Fender Bronco body. These new models featured more scale length and fingerboard options. The Musicmaster was part of the Fender electric guitar lineup from 1956 until 1982, when it was discontinued for the newer Fender lead model. The Musicmaster has yet to be reissued at the time of this recording, where the Duosonic and Mustang models have each seen several reissue versions since the early 1990s. This guitar was built in 1965, and on it I finally got to reveal a true vintage Fender factory date stamp on the neck heel. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time and hope I get to do again soon in other videos like this. The neck date stamp reads 9-Aug 65A, indicating that this neck was built in early August 1965, and the guitar would have then been assembled sometime later that year. This is an L series guitar with a serial number that begins L931. Meaning that it is one of the last 7,000 guitars built before the CBS era really began. The body finish is red nitrocellulose and has been refinished not too long ago. I think that at least because it still has some of that sweet vanilla smell of nitrocellulose that tends to go away over time. The original pickups used on these guitars were black bobbin single coils with flat pole pieces to accept the white plastic pickup cover. These same pickups were used on the Fender Champ lap steel. The original pickup here has been replaced with a modern Seymour Duncan Little 59 single coil sized humbucker, which is a super cool little pickup. The pick guard is white perloid and seems to me to be original from the aged paper tape and red grease pen on the back laying out the routing for the original wiring. You can see that this Mustang body had two original cavities, allowing it to be used for both the Musicmaster and Duosonic models. This particular body has had its bridge position cavity enlarged, which must have been to accommodate a larger bridge pickup. There's also this weird other cavity that I haven't figured out quite yet. Under the paint in these cavities, you can see the original grounding plates from the factory. The bridge plate appears to have been cleaned with steel wool during its restoration. I suspect it to be a relic replacement part. The bridge saddles are reissue 3 Tele style and are pretty cheap looking. It should be 3 threaded style saddles like what was found in early Telecasters. The controls have been modified with a pull-up volume pot, which switches between single coil and humbucker, and then a standard tone control. The Mustang-style control plate looks to be in the same shape as the bridge plate, and I suspect it is also an attempt at relicking a replacement part. The maple neck is 22.5-inch scale with 21 frets and has a resurfaced rosewood fingerboard and very clean frets. You can see here at the heel how thin the rosewood is after resurfacing. On the headstock, there is currently no logo. When I purchased this guitar, it had a reproduction logo that appeared to be printed on a low-quality printer with poor and inaccurate details, as you can see in these photos. At some point, this guitar was restored with some regard for originality. Some good things were done, some not so good things were also done. What would you do with this guitar if you had it? Restore it? Part it out? Leave your suggestions in the comments. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. Maybe there's another video or two to make on this one. Based on the August 1965 neck date, it's safe to assume this guitar was assembled in late 1965, during what's become known as the transition period. Leo Fender opened Fender Electric Instrument Company in 1946 and sold it to a subsidiary of CBS on January 5, 1965. The price tag was $13 million, which was almost $2 million more than CBS had paid for the New York Yankees the previous year. Fender's working home was located in Fullerton, California, from Leo's early days in radio repair until its eventual purchase back from CBS by a group of longtime Fender employees in the mid-1980s. The late 1964 to 1966 transition period is when CBS began to implement changes at the company, including many cost-cutting efforts, which led to a reduction in quality. This is the reason that the CBS era from 1966 into the early 1980s isn't known for the best quality instruments and gear. So, what are L-series guitars? Fender used neck plates with serial numbers that began with the letter L from 1963 to late 1965, and I'm told examples from late 1962 have even been identified. This series of guitars are considered pre-CBS, even though Fender was sold in January 1965. CBS-era inferior parts did not become available and ubiquitous until later 1966. I've read that the L-series numbered neck plates were used as needed, not necessarily taken in batches, meaning that the serial number before and after this guitar could be completely different models. These are the last guitars built at the original Fender company with Leo Fender at the helm. So what am I going to do with this guitar? Should I refinish the neck with nitrocellulose and add a restoration decal? Should I replace the hardware with original unrestored examples? What do you think? Now that you've seen the state of this guitar, what would you do if you had it in your hands? Thank you for watching Nick's Picks Vintage Showcase. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.